It has been going on now for just over 2 hours. This is a live shot from that same camera at Seymour and Georgia, just outside the Bay, where, as we just said, got to get a picture, got to get some video, got to tweet, got to text.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, our Jazz Sangera is our photographer down there. Rob Brown is our reporter down there. They're putting their masks on right now because they can't breathe and they can't speak properly. So how all of these people are able to stand in this for hours and think that it's a good idea, and they're able to breathe is mind-boggling. And there's Michael Coos right now.
But we are hot the entire time.
All right,
Rob doesn't know he's on air right now, but that's okay. We're still watching these pictures. The fire is burning, and as Rob Brown mentioned, no sign of police at this location right now.
They're obviously trying to formulate a strategy how to deal with this, but we're just coming, we just passed 10 o'clock here Pacific time in Vancouver. The hockey game has been over for a couple of hours now, and if you're just joining us, this is CTV breaking news coverage of the mayhem in downtown Vancouver. This is how it all started. There's fighting, porta potties flipped over, cars being flipped and burned, and we've been seeing it go on for 2 hours.
Yeah, this is footage from earlier, and obviously some serious fistfights breaking out and people just turning on each other. People in Canucks jerseys fighting. This is in front of the Bay, I believe, in the intersection there where we saw some serious damage to vehicles. Let's go back to Rob Brown now. Rob, do you have your mask on? Are you able to breathe okay?
Yeah, I took it off. You know what? It wasn't tear gas. It was a smoke, which is really, really thick.
Right.
It's really, really black, and it was next to impossible to breathe. So we moved a block away, but we're still in the shadow of that. I wanted to give you a look at where the police are. You've been asking me that question. I was well away from them, but they're half a block up. They've formed a line here. We've heard some instructions from a bullhorn, but they seem to be in a holding pattern right now, basically waiting to see where the crowd will move before they move. Nobody on horseback seen at this point, but we know that they're out and about. We know that the uniform officers, those without the shields, those without the helmets, are about a block away. Masked down there. This is obviously the front line that we're looking at.
It's out of control.
Yeah.
Rob,
yes, go ahead.
Just as you were going to put a mask on, and you interviewed that guy that you had talked to earlier, and he said he was, you know, so ashamed and this was disgusting and all that. And I just, why is he still there? That's the mind-boggling thing. Why are these people here?
Yeah, that would have been the follow-up question, Tamara. I spoke with him, you know, 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
He was as disgusted then, but he's a young man, and he's a curious young man. He's in the thick of things, not involved, as far as I can tell, but he wants to be where this is going on, and he wants to witness it and watch it. So, yeah, why are you sticking around when you know the situation is dangerous? Why do you want to be a part of this when you know that the police could move in at some point and things could get nasty and people could be arrested? I don't know. I didn't have a chance to follow up that question with that, but you would only assume it's out of curiosity. You know, a lot of us remember '94, but a lot of these people were not around back then, and they were children. So this is a whole new generation. They probably heard the legends of '94 and what happened back then. In fact, earlier tonight when I heard people chanting "Riot, Riot," I heard '94 chanted more than once. So I'll just give you another look at what we just walked away from and how thick that smoke is now. We were basically downwind from that and taking it in the face. It was too difficult. It's very dangerous. There were people standing up, as you recall, on that roof, just in behind that area moments ago. I hope they got out of there safely, because as it stands right now, you'll be looking at severe smoke inhalation and serious lung damage. You can probably see that guy walking way down there, Jazz, on the roof. So here's somebody who's in the middle of the smoke, walking along the roof with his hand in the air. You know how dangerous that is? It's incredibly dangerous. When we go and cover your standard house fire, more often than not, the death that happens at your standard house fire is a result of smoke inhalation before the flames ever get to somebody. So there's somebody right now who could be hospitalized of his own doing tonight.
Well, it's shocking. We saw that guy jump over the car and basically fall into the burning car, and it's amazing. We haven't heard any serious injuries yet. Have you seen firefighters?
I'm sorry, Tamara, can you repeat that?
Yeah, have you seen any firefighters down there yet to deal with this?
No, I saw those firefighters earlier. They were keeping them relatively close to the burning cars we saw a couple of hours ago, and as I mentioned, they would bring them in near the end of the fire, they would put them out. But you know what? Those firefighters were scared. They were worried.
And are you scared, Rob?
For exactly that reason.
No.
Out of control.
And I don't know if you just heard that explosion behind me and the cheer that resulted from it, but it's for that reason. The firefighters are worried about the unpredictability of the crowd. And so they, for now, seem to be well away from this area here, and the police are content to let them do that. Because the firefighters, you have to keep in mind, when they get to the scene here, they're dragging hoses, right? And so that's right through the crowd. People are tripping up. It's dangerous work for them. And what's the upside? People are going to be this stupid. Why would they bother going in and putting their own lives at risk?
Yeah.
And the officers that we see standing over here with the shields, they're not moving right now.
No, and Rob, obviously, I mean, I'm guessing that was the tank that exploded and, you know, the big cheer. Is there a chance the building could catch on fire from what you see?
Yeah, you know, we were just talking about that. It's hard to tell, right? It's basically right underneath the awning of that roof. So in theory, if those flames grow large enough, the Hudson Bay building here at the corner of Seymour and Georgia could be on fire. We know the inventory, we know the history of this building, but nobody's moving in at this point to douse those flames. You see another explosion right now. I don't know what's causing that, frankly, Tamara. You would think it's a gas tank, but I would assume it would be a much larger explosion if that were the case. They sound like they're pops of headlights or they're pops of fire extinguishers or windows, but it's definitely dangerous here, and it's getting to the point where you would think the police would have to move in soon if this crowd doesn't disperse.
Well, if there's gasoline in that car, you would think that it eventually has to...
Well, that's what's fueling the fire, for sure. That's what's keeping it going. But I don't think it's good. We're going to see a single explosion. They're just going to burn out the frame at this point.
Rob, do you think you could ask Jazz, our photographer, to do a 180 to just give us a view of what it looks like from your point?
Yeah, Jazz, they're looking for basically if we do a 360 all the way around, they can get an appreciation of where we are, what we're doing. So he's going to pop it up. And you see the whole crowd and the yahoos that we're going to obviously attract when we do that. But we're right at the corner of Seymour and Georgia. Police officers lined up across Georgia. Everybody tied into really a one-block radius who are into the trouble. The rest on the periphery taking photographs. And we're waiting to see how the scene will unfold at this particular location. And frankly, from here, I have no idea what's going on in the rest of the city. Do you know if we're seeing this in other parts of the city right now?
Well, we've been seeing pockets of activity throughout, not too far from where you are, Rob, and we're going to get everybody caught up to date on that coverage from various locations. But thank you. Very disturbing, very incredible pictures and images from out in front of one of our iconic buildings in the city. The fire's burning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but Rob was standing there and people on their cell phone behind him, like, look at me, I'm on TV right now. Okay. This is footage from earlier of the same location that Rob and...